What happens when you take R-Type, give it a makeover that hyperfixates on horrifically disfigured alien organs, and one of the greatest gimmicks ever conceived for a shoot-'em-up? You get X-Multiply, a game I've never even heard of, let alone played, until I delved deep into the depths of shmup nichery. And I'm glad I did. If you got here from looking this game up, you're likely familiar with R-Type. If you're not, I made a video breaking down why it can be one of the most stimulating games you'll ever play, which you can catch here or in the description. In short, it's a rush of accomplishment always attainable by the player, gorgified by the finest sci-fi grit of 1987. So how does X-Multiply surpass R-Type's addictive action where Image Fight fell short? There are many reasons, but I would round it down to 3 major merits that unquestionably improve a classic. The aforementioned tentacles, checkpoint chivalry, and cramp-proof controls. Let's start with the tentacles, since the squid's best friend steals the show. What's better than a shield for the front and the rear? A shield that bobs up and down and all around, any which way you please. These chains revolve around basic gravity, going against left and right thrusts, but following up and down, unless you're moving slow or waggling, letting them stay static if needed. Everyone raves about Super Castlevania 4's Whip, but here's a game that came 2.5 years earlier that gives you almost as much control as Konami's masterpiece. You could shoot these worms from afar, leaving room to dodge their retaliation bullets, or you could run up and smack them after they fire once, so you don't gotta deal with swift retaliation. Coupled with the classic 3 pickups, and you have a myriad of ways to win the game on your own terms, even more than in R-Type. It is truly a brilliant gimmick allowing for awe-inspiring stunts, like my sick volcanic sweep. Oh, and before you even think about it, you can't just cower in a corner to make an impervious shell the whole time. The chains will uncurl when you reach the edge of the screen, ensuring the game isn't too easy to win. IREM figured that out with Dragon Breed. On a minor note, I also applaud the addition of speed down items, giving you an early form of shmup speed control. Accidental speed boosts aren't the end of you forever. Next, we have checkpoint chivalry. Checkpoint shmups are often scrutinized for being overly punishing on mistakes, deliberately to form challenge. R-Type fits the mold, having rough recoveries that rewarded score for coping, which is good enough, but X-Multiply's having none of that. An X-Multiply checkpoint gives you everything you need to succeed, with only minor difficulty jumps without sub-shots. In my 5 hours playing, I only felt the checkpoint was unreasonable once, at the very end of the game. You don't get anything on Unlucky Stage 7, but that's only 1/7 of the game. Way fairer than your average arcade shmup of the time. And even then, that checkpoint is solvable with enough dedication. Nothing like Prehistoric Isle's last stage, which gets stupidly unfair if you die at all. This is good checkpoint gaming. They ensure you learn the patterns and get better every time, instead of making the game unplayable for not knowing them ahead of time. When you finally conquer that impudent backstabbing snake, it's entirely by your own hands, and your precious time wasn't wasted since you can focus all your training on that one victory, rather than repeating stage 1 7 times. There's nothing better than that for a first-time shmup player. They'll end up replaying the stage not because they were forced to, but because they want to start a flawless streak for score. Last, but definitely not least, cramp-proof controls. You didn't see autofire every day in 1989. Button pounding was the gold standard, which didn't exactly allure older folks, or people with carpal tunnel, like myself, to these games. Then, here comes IREM with their forward thinking. Challenging the notion, mashing is engaging challenge. Picking up the red gun lets you hold, and behold. Even without the designated auto gun, they thought of a use for the second button switch on their hardware. It uses the same tech as R-Type, so why let it go to waste? It fires shots too. This effectively lets you use 2 fingers to take a load off your hands. You can alternate buttons and comfortably reach solid fire rates without cramping yourself doing this. Before you ask why I bothered bringing this up when auto fire's easy today, hear me out. You sure as heck wouldn't find an American arcade tweaking their cabs in 1989. They didn't take games so seriously. Thus, the layout needs praise for intentionally and unintentionally being years ahead of the curve, because who knows, it could have inspired Topland with Truxton too. Now we've come full circle. The 3 merits and journalistic outlook combined paint X-Multiply as a magnificent game that was woefully unappreciated at the time. Perhaps the casuals were underwhelmed since R-Type set a high graphical bar, but technology takes time to refine. Any thinking person knows the only way forward is better games on the best tech. In the long run, that'll age like the finest wine instead of a shallow bowl of milk. I'm delighted to award X-Multiply the highest honor I can give, a special grade. It's one of the best games I've played in my life. I'd even go as far to say it's the best R-Type game. Anyone interested in perfecting their problem-solving noggin should buy or emulate the game now. It's available for $8 US or your region's equivalent on PS4 and PS5. I'd also recommend going for as high of a score as possible on 1 credit once you've mastered the mission, because there within lies a year's worth of challenge. You'd be doing yourself a great service. And with that, I'm signing off. See you for the inevitable R-Type 2 review.